Let me take you back to the year 1985, a time where gaming was starting to take off. It wasn't as well known as it was today. The NES, the console that saved the gaming industry in the midst of a crash due to oversaturation, now has become one of the most beloved consoles by many people, even to this day. So let's take a look where it all began. Before the idea of the NES even came out, they produced many great hits, which particularly was stuck with the Game & Watch lineup of games, which included many popular arcade hits like Donkey Kong and Donkey Kong Jr. But when it came time when the Game & Watch sales are starting to dwindle, the then Nintendo president at the time had other plans to make a new product. Yamauchi's idea for a new console was one where you have to plug in the TV and plug in your console and then have the console have interchangeable cartridges where you put them in the slot, making it look like a VCR of some sorts. With the idea of a new console in mind, and given their past successes with the arcade hits and the Game and Watch, they decided to release the system in 1983, July to be specific. And when it released, they decided to re-release some of those games, some of those arcade hits into the Famicom, which was Donkey Kong and Donkey Kong Jr. and many other great hits. And following this, Nintendo was very successful with the Famicom system. But the same couldn't be said for Nintendo of America at the time. While the Famicom was getting all the success in Japan, Nintendo of America was in trouble. Given their dwindling arcade hits were not very successful at the time, and the Game and Watch systems were not very successful there either, Nintendo of America had to do something. Minoru Arakawa, the president at the time over there, had to make a bold move to release the system in the States. They would market it as more of a toy than as a video game system. Retailers were very hesitant back then because of the video game crash that happened 2 years prior to the Nintendo Entertainment System releasing. But in the end, retailers decided to release it in the end, and Nintendo of America was very successful again. One of the biggest strengths that I believe the Nintendo Entertainment System has over the other consoles after the Nintendo Entertainment System is the fact that they brought many iconic franchises that we know and love today. Many iconic franchises include Super Mario Bros., Legend of Zelda, Kirby, Metroid, just to name a few. Without the Nintendo Entertainment System, we probably wouldn't know many of these different franchises that we all know and love till this day. Because Nintendo did make a right decision when it came to bringing many of their iconic franchises to this system. Since we're talking about the games here, and other than the iconic franchises that the NES brought, is the fact that they expanded to different genres. And with the library of over 1,000 games that the Nintendo Entertainment System has got, it's no wonder why people love this system a lot. And honestly, with games like Tennis, Dr. Mario, which is a Tetris type game, it's really kind of surprising and very great at the same time that we have many different games which appeal to different people that don't want to play, that probably want to play these types of games. Like, for people who don't want to play platformers, they can play like Dr. Mario. Or if people want to play shoot 'em ups, they can play Metroid. Or if people want to play platformers, they can play the iconic franchises like Mario, Kirby, Legend of Zelda, all those games, and that's the fun of it. Like you get these different genres, and lots of these people want to play these games because there's a diverse library, and that's the fun of it. It's diverse. It adds a lot of variety to these games, and just the way that the NES was marketed is just fascinating. And with over 1,000 games, it did wonders. The NES is a cultural impact in of itself, and what I believe that comes down to is the fact that the NES was released at a time where gaming was gonna be forgotten forever, and um, the fact that it was released during the time of a crash, it says something, and it really does speak volumes, because without the system, without the NES, gaming wouldn't be what it is today. Gaming wouldn't be the same. Gaming would just be another topic that we wouldn't really bring up. And the fact that the NES had a really good cultural impact speaks volumes. And, the fact that it ultimately saved the gaming industry as a whole, that says something. That says something. And, I might get emotional talking about this. And just the fact that a lot of people recognize this system is really quite impressive and fascinating. And Nintendo did a good job having this system to its full potential. The NES, it had a very strong cultural impact. But when it comes to the emotional impact that the system had, it's almost too nostalgic to bear. A lot of people love this system, and is iconic to people. And just the fact that this system was very popular back then in the 80s and then the 90s, it's something that a lot of people won't forget, because remember the days where you went to a friend's house to play Nintendo, or remember the days where you got your Nintendo Entertainment System on Christmas morning, or remember the time where somebody got you a Nintendo Entertainment System for your birthday and stuff. Those were the times that many people remember with the Nintendo Entertainment System. And just the fact that it has such a strong cultural impact and has a strong emotional impact speaks volumes of it, because it is a really influential system, and it is a very iconic system. And for everybody out there who's played the NES, Godspeed to every one of you. You experience a system that will forever bring millions of people smiles every single day. That's something that will never be forgotten. And the Nintendo Entertainment System has such a very emotional impact. It's something that a lot of people still love to this day. And that's is impressive, honestly. Whenever the NES comes up, in many people's minds, it brought about a simpler time of the days of when they got the console on release day or Christmas morning. It was something special. But the impact that the system has brought will never be forgotten, and the many people that still go and play this piece of great technology have something great to remember it by. Now they are playing with power, Nintendo Power.